Welcome to science class. Today we are going to learn about tides. Tides occur because of the gravitational influence of the moon and to a lesser extent the sun as well. Even though the sun is 400 times farther away from Earth than the moon, its tidal influence is still almost half as strong as the moon. However, throughout most of this video, we will ignore the influence of the sun. Tides are noticeable and they influence human activity to an extent, but tides don't have wide-ranging influences on other parts of the planet, unlike ocean currents, which we learned about in the last video. In this class, we try to focus on Earth system science as much as we can. So if we can't connect tides very strongly to the geosphere or the biosphere or the atmosphere, then why do they need their own video? Well, understanding tides introduces us to the fourth discipline of Earth science, which has largely been uncovered so far in this class. Again, tides are caused by the gravitational relationship between the Earth and the moon. Welcome to your introduction to astronomy. Let's get started. I am not an encyclopedia. I had to learn everything that I teach you in these videos, and creating this video on tides was frustrating because every single resource I looked at, apart from one or two, explains tides incorrectly. They get the part where tides exist because of the gravitational force between Earth's water and the moon, but then they explain all of the details incorrectly. Luckily, I was able to find a couple solid resources, especially this video by PBS Spacetime, which explains the physics of tides brilliantly. So now, it's my turn to do the best I can. We will begin by discussing some of the basics of gravity. And to avoid complete confusion, we will discuss gravity in the Newtonian sense and not the Einsteinian sense of curved spacetime. Gravity is a mutually attractive force between two massive objects. Because the Earth is much more massive than you, it pulls you towards its surface. Because the Earth is much more massive than the moon orbits the Earth. Because the sun is much more massive than the Earth orbits the sun. Part of the reason the moon does not orbit the sun is because gravity weakens very quickly with distance. Say we had two moons, both of which are exactly the same size and mass, but moon 2 is twice as far away from Earth as moon 1. How does the gravitational pull Earth exists on moon 2, which is twice as far away, compare to the closer moon? You might think it's half as strong, but it's not. It's 1/4 as strong. Gravity weakens with the inverse of the square of the distance. Gravity does not weaken linearly. That fact gives us a fun, hypothetical thought experiment. But first, I have a confession to make. Earlier, when I said, because the Earth is much more massive than you, it pulls you towards its surface, I lied. Gravity does not pull objects toward the surface of the object, but towards its center. That is an important distinction. Okay, here's the thought experiment. To calculate the acceleration of gravity on a surface, which is to say the pull of gravity on a surface, you need this equation. R squared is the radius squared. The radius tells you how far away you are from the center. On Earth, you are on average 6,371 kilometers from its center. So that's the number we would use. What if you were twice as far away from Earth's center? What if we built a tower that was 6,371 kilometers tall? If you stood on top of that tower, you would weigh 1/4 of what you normally do on Earth's surface. Again, because objects twice as far away from the center of other objects are attracted to each other with 1/4 as much gravity. Let's move on with tides. On Earth, there are high tides and there are low tides. This illustration I've made represents a view of Earth from over the North Pole, so a top-down view. Let's imagine the moon is positioned over here. Where would the high tide be? You would hopefully guess right here, but that's only half correct. There would be two high tides, one here and another one on the opposite side of the planet. For the record, the low tides would be here, and we'll return to low tides after a bit. But first, I need to explain how there can be a high tide on the opposite side of the planet. When you try to visualize this, it implies that the water on the opposite side of the moon is being pulled away from the moon. And that's what all the resources I looked at get wrong. They imply that Earth's water is stretched towards and away from the moon. Gravity cannot repel objects away from each other. But there lies the mystery. How can the water be attracted to the moon and still rise on the opposite side of the Earth? The key is the way gravity weakens over distance. Everything in this model is very much exaggerated, but here's what's happening. The ocean's surface, directly facing the moon, is closest to the moon and is pulled with the greatest force. This pretty clearly explains why the water rises and creates a high tide. The Earth itself, the geosphere of Earth, is also pulled towards the moon, but the solid Earth is farther away and more massive than the water, so it is pulled towards the moon a shorter distance than the water on its surface. The water on the opposite side of the moon is also pulled towards the moon, but it's not pulled towards the moon as far as the solid Earth is. That is what causes the sea level to rise on the opposite side of the moon, creating two high tides. And I have another confession. I lied once again. The oceans are not really pulled towards the moon. This is important to understand where the low tides come from. Right here, directly facing the moon, the gravitational pull is directly in line with the moon. But over here, perpendicular to the moon, the gravitational pull is not in the same direction. It points towards the center of the moon. Remember, that's how gravity works. As you can see, the direction that this gravitational force points is partially towards the ocean surface itself. What this actually causes is the waters to be squeezed rather than uniformly pulled off the surface of the geosphere. Because the oceans are so large, this accumulative squeezing of the water together is really what causes the tides to rise so high. The low tides occur perpendicular to the moon because the water is drawn towards the side of the Earth directly facing the moon. The water is not pulled down, it's pushed forward and accumulates over here, which means there is less water in these locations. Here's another misconception about tides that we have. We say the tides come and go, but the tide itself doesn't really go anywhere. Earth rotates into the tides. It takes 29.5 days for the moon to orbit the Earth, but only 24 hours for the Earth to rotate. This causes most places around the world to experience 2 high tides and 2 low tides every day. However, not all tides are equal, and for different reasons. The extent to which a tide rises depends largely on the geography of an area. The tides that are experienced on America's west coast are different from the ones experienced on its east coast. In the Gulf of Mexico, the tides are weak because the land that encircles the Gulf prevents the water from being squeezed together over a large enough surface area like we talked about earlier. This is also why lakes don't experience real tides. There's not enough surface area for the water to squeeze together. The shape of a coastline or a bay also greatly determines how high the tide will rise. The position of the moon relative to the sun also matters. When the sun, moon, and Earth are all in line with each other, the mutual gravitational pull of the sun and moon on Earth's waters creates the greatest possible tidal range. These are known as spring tides, and they occur about every 2 weeks during the full moon and new moon. When the sun, moon, and Earth are perpendicular to one another, much of the gravitational pull of the moon and sun is canceled out by the other. This results in the smallest tidal range, and these are known as neap tides. Even so, not all tides experienced in a 24-hour day are the same. Earlier I stated that there are 2 high tides and 2 low tides a day. But some places, although it's much less common, only experience 1 high tide and 1 low tide every 24 hours. Around many coastlines, the 2 high tides they experience are not equal. The water rises noticeably higher during one high tide than the other, and the water lowers noticeably more during one low tide than the other. It's complicated. Now there's one final thing about Earth's tides that I want to mention. Earth rotates, which means that the high tide is not directly in line with the moon. It is slightly forward because of rotational inertia. But the moon is always pulling back on the water. This means that the water is pulled back towards Earth ever so slightly, What this means is Earth's oceans partially resist the rotation of Earth. Earth's rotation is slowing down, making the days longer. It's a very small difference. 100 million years ago, the days were only about 23 hours in length. So if you ever feel like there aren't enough hours in a day, just wait 100 million years, and you'll have an extra hour to do your homework. Next time, we're going to jump topics and begin studying meteorology. Thanks for watching.